Carrie, she says her 17-year-old son, Nick, spends 10 hours a day on his phone, even watching videos in the shower. Wow, Nick, I didn't know you could bring the phone in the shower, but apparently
I
you
didn't
can.
either.
You,
Yeah, it's turned into like an issue. Whenever like I go to take a shower, I end up with the phone in the shower. So
because you can't be without the phone long enough to shower.
I guess I can. I just like the attention span. Not my, I like to watch the videos. They're interesting to me.
Okay. Would you? Okay. So for Carrie, let's hear from you. What concerns you most about Nick's phone usage? Thank you both for being here, by the way. Thank you, Nick, for
Well,
joining.
thank you for having us. Thank you and gratitude for having us and letting us talk to Jonathan and yourself about this. What concerns me the most is really the mental health issue. Anxiety, depression, especially depression, is very prevalent in our family on both sides, my husband's side and my side. Um, Addiction is also huge in our family. And my main concern is that this addiction to the phone will turn into an addiction of something else, drugs, alcohol, pornography, all of the things that could be available. And we were talking about him being in the shower with it. I realized last summer he was coming in from cheer practice and I was in the kitchen. The garage is right off the kitchen. And I could hear the Instagram reels going. And it's literally a 20-foot maybe walk from his car into the kitchen. And he couldn't be not entertained for that amount of time. So I, in passing, said something to our 20-year-old daughter, Molly. I said, hey, do you know your brother? Like, I'm starting to see that this might be a problem. And she goes, Mom, he's in the shower and he's got the Instagram, the reels going, and he's got the TikToks going and all of this. And that's when I was like, this is a real problem.
Nick, do you think you're addicted? Do you think you have a problem?
Oh yes, 100%. 100% there's a problem.
Okay. That's a good start. That's a good start. Is it, Jonathan, a good start?
That's a very good start. If he sees that there's a problem, then it's going to definitely be possible to solve it. Carrie, you're absolutely right to worry about his mental health. Now, for girls, the connection between social media use and depression anxiety is much stronger. It sounds like, Nick, are you suffering from depression or anxiety right now, or is that not really your issue now?
That's not really an issue right now, I wouldn't say.
Right. Okay. Because what I see happening is we focused a lot on social media and girls because that's a very strong connection. That's really devastating the girls. And it took me a while to realize while I was writing the book that the story for boys is actually very different and addiction is at the center. So, Carrie, Nick, do you know the word dopamine? Do you know what dopamine means, the neurotransmitter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
it's not how you get from watching the videos.
Well, so what it really is, what dopamine is, it's said to be the reward neurotransmitter because it makes us feel good. But the key thing is it's the motivation neurotransmitter. So when you do something and then you get a reward, you then are motivated to do it again. And then you get the reward and you dig yourself deeper and deeper. And if you do it a lot, your dopamine neurons adapt. They're trying to get back to a normal level. So they become less sensitive to dopamine. So now you need more and more dopamine. So Nick, what happens if you are separated from your phone for an hour or two? Is that no problem, or do you start to feel something?
I feel like I can go an hour or two. I would say it's more of like the longer hours without it.
Okay, what happens to you when you go hours without it?
Like I just want to sit there and just like watch a video. I don't necessarily I want something to entertain me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, good.
So I saw Carrie shaking her head. Carrie, yeah, go ahead, Carrie.
Yeah. When he when he does not have access to social media or his phone, he gets very agitated. He gets very angry. He has what I would call a teenage temper tantrum. He cannot go hours without a phone. We went on a cruise last summer, and he was miserable the whole time because he didn't have access to the phone if we weren't on land.
Wow. Can I ask you, but don't you have to be without it in school? Because hasn't Florida banned the phones in schools?
They have on paper banned the phones in schools. I think he can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've banned it like by law, but it's really like a school to school basis. Every school is different. So for majority of the schools, I believe, it's our electronics that we get, ThinkPad services. Some schools even get MacBooks. They all like they just start to break down because they're so old and they're so overused.
The issue is the technology is not good, and so they have to get on their personal electronics in order to complete the classwork, because everything is online,
Okay.
even when
So,
they're
well, yeah.
in person.
That's a separate issue, which is a very serious issue, which is that all of this ed tech, all of these screens in front of students, it turns out is really bad for their education. Test scores have been dropping around the world since 2012 in part because of the educational technology. But let's get back to the question of addiction, because Nick, what you said, I was about to say, oh, good. Well, then it's not really addiction. It's just a habit. But what Carrie said tells me that you are addicted. Your brain is addicted. And here's how I know, because Anna Lemke, one of our country's foremost experts on addiction, she wrote the book Dopamine Nation. She says the 5 universal symptoms of withdrawal from an addictive substance. This is what happens to addicts when you take away the drug for a day. Here are the 5: irritability, insomnia, dysphoria, craving, and anxiety. And it sounds like you've got most of those, which tells me that your brain is dependent on constant stimulation. Are you able to read a book? Can you read a whole book, like, an hour at a time paying attention, or is that hard for you?
I can read a book. I wouldn't say I can read the whole book, but I can read a majority of
He
it.
cannot read a whole hour at a time. Absolutely not. He cannot.
Yeah. Okay. So Nick, what I'm gonna recommend for you is what I'm just drawing from what the experts say is, if this is a dopamine issue, and clearly it is, then the way to break it is to go a month without it. You have to go through detox. The first few days, the first week will be hard, but then what you're going to find, and this is what my students at NYU find, your life opens up. You can pay attention. You have more time in your day. You experience things. So if you can find a way, the two of you working together, ideally you could start it if you can take a vacation somewhere. If you could send him to some sort of summer thing for a week or two or a month, summer camp or some experience, that really helps. So make the real world interesting as possible. But what would really help you is going a month to let your brain reset itself to a normal setting.
I see his face though, Jonathan, when you say a month. Can you imagine? He can't be without it for an hour. So the idea of a month feels like punishment, feels like torture, feels like, how in the world is he going to do that? Are you getting anxiety even hearing this, Nick? Like, you're going to be disconnected from the world, disconnected from the world, disconnected from your friends and what that means, and all of that.
Nick, do you think you could do that, or is that impossible?
I wouldn't say it's impossible. I feel like it would take a lot out of me. It would take everything out of me.